I remember hearing a woman describe what it was like when she met her husband. And, fill in the blank with all the cute romantic stuff, they did and everything as they got to know each other. And she described what it was like when he proposed to her. And she said she had panic attacks and she freaked out and she cried. And she said that was just her way of grieving the fact that she was going to not be single anymore. And I just want to say, y'all do realize you don't have to get married. You don't have to move in with anybody or have kids. You don't. There's no law that says you have to do those things. Now, I'm no psychologist. I work nowhere near the mental health profession. But having the reaction of panic attacks and, freaking out, I don't really know if that's a good thing. Now, I understand being a little nervous, your feet might be a little cold to the touch, but that's normal as you think about this new life and this new future. But if you're your body is literally having a negative reaction, and I'm not saying you can never get married if that's really what you want, but it's perfectly okay to not. One of the most tragic things, and I've said this before, I have a love-hate relationship with this app because we have all these new therapy buzzwords, and that's a good thing because it helps us put a name to things that have happened to us or that we might be feeling. But it's also a bad thing because sometimes we can misuse those words and diagnose people with things and ourselves with things that we don't have, or we're feeling something that is quite literally a negative reaction, but we're just saying, oh, it's just this, it's just that. I'm not saying that you have to be perfect when you meet someone. I go to the therapist twice a month. There was one point in time where I was like twice a week. I'm a basket case. Nobody's gonna be perfect, but if you're breaking out in hives and having a panic attack and you're weeping and sobbing, it might not be a no, but it might be a not right now. I don't know. I just feel like as women, we're villainized for protecting our feelings. They say we're sabotaging. They villainize us for having our guard up, and they tell us we can't do that. So we're villainized for doing anything at all to be smart and to protect ourselves. The world grooms us to be open and vulnerable to everything because that might be the one. So you have to be open to everything or you might miss it. And I'm quite fed up. I'm quite fed up. And we also villainize women who say, you know what, for whatever reason, I just don't want to be married or be in a relationship. And then we tell them, you can't do that. You can't give up on love. You have to be open to love. Anytime we don't want to be in communication with a man or in relationship with a man, we get diagnosed with some shit. We get villainized and we get told, you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to want love. You have to be married. You have to be in a relationship. You can't just, the bane of my existence, this phrase, you can't just give up on love. And if somebody can find me a piece of literature or a licensed professional who can say that unless you are in a romantic relationship, you will die, I'm going to be convinced that it's not a requirement to walk this earth. But unfortunately, in 2024, we're still being conditioned to believe that it is a requirement, and not wanting to partake in that requirement is wrong. You're doing something wrong. There's something, and there might be something where you do need to get checked out, and it is possible to sabotage a good relationship. But I'm going to say this, and this is based on life experiences of myself and other women. Anytime we have sabotaged a relationship, it was simply either because, one, our bodies, our psyches knew that dude wasn't it. Doesn't mean he was a bad person. He just wasn't the one. Or there really was some shit going on that we were in denial about, and we were just sabotaging it, but really we were just escaping a fucked up situation, or what could have potentially been that. Nervousness, I can understand. Joining yourself to someone legally to the point where you will have to go back through the court system to undo that bond, that's huge. But freaking out to the point where you feel like you need to be in the ER, I don't know about that one.